My name is Thomas Crockett, and I'm going to be doing a book or a chapter review on chapter 7 of our textbook, which is titled Leadership, a Communication Perspective. The title of the chapter is Leadership in Groups and Teams, and the opening quote is, "The well-run group is not a battlefield of egos." The overview of our chapter and kind of the key points that we'll talk about and think about after the chapter is all said and done are the first one is fundamentals of group interaction, and we talk about viewing groups from a communication perspective and group evolution. Then there's emergent leadership, and that talks about how not to emerge as a leader, useful strategies, and appointed versus emergent leaders. Then we talk about leadership in meetings, group decision making, which goes into functions and formats, and then avoiding the pitfalls. We then talk about team leadership and answer the question, when is a group a team? And then talk about developing team building skills, project leadership, and leading virtual teams. The first thing that I want to talk about is the fundamentals of group interaction. And our book says, as you read this book, you may be learning a number of new terms, or you may be discovering new meanings for familiar terms. The symbols we master during our academic training focus our attention on some parts of the world and away from others. Kenneth Burke calls this focusing influence of language the terministic screen. I will now talk about the rules for how not to emerge as a leader. Since natural leaders emerge through the process of elimination, it can be useful to identify those behaviors that virtually guarantee you won't become the group's leader. Aubrey Fisher and Donald Ellis offered the following rules for those who want to secure low status position in the group. Rule 1 is be absent from as many group meetings as possible. Don't explain why you didn't attend. Rule 2 is contribute very little to the interaction. Rule 3, volunteer to be secretary or the record keeper of your group's discussion. This is an important role, but a recorder or secretary rarely ends up as the group's leader. Rule 4 is indicate that you are willing to do what you are told. While disinterest guarantees avoiding leadership responsibilities, subservience is not perceived as a leadership quality. Rule 5 is come on too strong early in the group discussions, be extreme, appear unwilling to compromise. Rule 6 is try to assume the role of the joker, make sure your jokes are off the topic, and never let on that you are serious about anything. Rule 7 is demonstrate your knowledge of everything, including your extensive vocabulary of big words and technical jargon. Be a know-it-all and use words that others in the group won't understand. And then finally, Rule 8 is demonstrate a contempt for leadership, express your dislike for all kinds of leaders and the idea of leadership itself. There are also some useful strategies in identifying negative behaviors that eliminate leader contenders. Some of these strategies are participate early and often. The link between participation and leadership is the most consistent finding in small group leadership research. Participation demonstrates both your motivation to lead and your commitment to the group. The second strategy is focus on communication quality as well as quantity. Frequent participation earns you consideration as a leader. However, communicating the wrong messages, rigidity, contempt, irrelevance can keep you from moving into the leadership position. Then we move on to demonstrate your competence. Not surprisingly, the success of would-be leaders depends heavily on their ability to convince others that they can successfully help the group complete the job at hand. Doing your homework in preparation for a project gives your leadership bid a major boost. And then finally, there's help build a cohesive unit. You must also demonstrate that you want to cooperate with others if you want to become a group leader. Successful leader candidates pitch in to help. work to build the status of others, and don't claim all credit for their decisions. Thanks for listening.